Hi, I'm Charlie Fripp for IT News Africa, and I'm speaking today to Julian Pienaar, the Technical Solutions Manager for Lenovo.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thanks, Andy.
Magic.
Good. What has been your most exciting tech trend for the year so far?
For me, virtualization and cloud are definitely becoming more and more a common thing, which enables people obviously to work pretty much on any device anywhere in the world. So the key thing behind that obviously is the security and how secure is the cloud that you're working in.
Okay. And then we've seen in the last year and a half or so that devices are moving more towards convertible laptops, tablets. What is Lenovo's strategy on that? I know that Lenovo has like the Yoga, which flips over and becomes a tablet.
Convertible, yes, yeah.
What is Lenovo's strategy going forward?
Our strategy is pretty very much in line with what we're seeing in the world. And as I've mentioned this morning, the PC is not going to go away, but the devices that we use will change. So the PC front will change. We call it the PC Plus era. In other words, where your notebook would be also your tablet, for example. So the devices are becoming smaller, they're becoming lighter. And obviously the challenge with that, so for example, if you've got a smaller screen, obviously accessing the information for some people gets a lot smaller. But if you've got programs that translate your convergence from your notebook to your phone, it'll obviously be a lot easier that you'll be able to navigate on a smaller screen than you're normally doing that as well. So we believe in a 4-screen strategy. Everybody either has a mobile phone, a tablet, some kind of PC or computer device, and then obviously the next big thing is obviously the smart television space.
Yeah.
And that is where I think everybody sees a screen these days, and the only way you're going to be able to obviously access all your information on those devices is via a cloud solution.
Okay. What is Lenovo's market share in Africa?
In Africa itself, it's fairly high at the moment. For us, that is. I mean, we've grown from strength to strength. In South Africa itself, we're up to 14%. In Kenya, we've actually just broken the 10% mark as well. And obviously, we're growing in Nigeria. Although we're still very small, we're only 2 to 3% of the market share in Nigeria. Those are our key markets at the moment that we're focusing on. Obviously, we work actively in SADC as well as far as Mauritius across the other side. But obviously, we are looking to get double-digit growth through the next fiscal year, basically, for us. So we're focusing a lot on those different areas. We're putting a lot of focus on our traditional PCs and things like that. But obviously then in markets like Nigeria, where the smartphone, I mean, everybody's got 1, 2 or 3, obviously, we will have a launch of smartphones later this year, either early this or possibly early next year as well, to boost that market share as well.
Okay. Which kind of touches on the next question as well, which is any plans to expand Lenovo's footprint further into Africa? Or are you just focusing on those key markets for the time being?
Obviously,
and growing those?
Sorry about that. Obviously, the strategy is obviously to focus on key markets and get them established. For example, South Africa is a very, very established market. So now what we're trying to do is obviously then we'll focus very clearly on SADC. And we've appointed a person that will manage SADC, which is obviously Angola, Namibia, Botswana, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and as far as the Seychelles and Mauritius as well. Then obviously going up the east coast, we've got the likes of Tanzania and Kenya, which we already got presence in Kenya, and they're doing really, really well. And then obviously around that surrounding area we'll have business as well. And then Nigeria is also a very key point for us as well, because the market there, it's the fastest growing economy in the world at the moment, and obviously we'll work on Nigeria and Ghana and all the areas around there. We do have obviously strategies that focus on North Africa, and that is obviously managed from the Middle East as well.
I was just about to ask, do you have different strategies for different regions?
Yes.
Like you said, Nigeria obviously has a huge mobile phone market, and you won't necessarily use the same strategy for Nigeria that what you use in South Africa.
Most definitely.
So you do have different strategies.
We need to obviously get the right people on board when we're doing this, and launching a product is very, very important. You get one shot at it, and you've got to make sure that you do it properly. So we've obviously got to get the right people in place, get them up and running, and make sure that they know exactly what's happening in that market. And once we've done that, we will obviously be able to market the phones, get them out into to the thing, and then take it from there.
Disregarding OS completely, or the operating system, how does one compete with the likes of Apple? Can you compete with them? Are they on a different market playing almost? Are they targeting different people? Or do you, to a degree, compete with them for space?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Apple, however, has had the market in tablets. They have got probably more than 40% of market share in tablet at the moment. However, the likes of other manufacturers such as ourselves and other competitors are very quickly moving into that space using an Android operating system, for example. Android has grown up as an operating system. You are getting more and more applications developed daily, thousands, hundreds of thousands. And it's obviously the ecosystem that is very, very important. Apple is a very closed ecosystem. You need to make sure that your applications are submitted to them before they approve it, and then you've got to decide which store you're going to house your application. So, for example, if I'm in South Africa, there might be an application in the USA that I will not be able to use, and vice versa. Whereas with Android, being an open source development, you'd be able to basically develop your own application, build it in-house with a bunch of developers that you've got, and then obviously you'd be able to deploy it in any country that you're actually using it. So in terms of ecosystem, Android is growing at a phenomenal rate. I mean, there's more than 500,000 device activations a day at the moment on Android, and a lot of people think at the moment that iOS is getting a bit dated. It's had the same look and feel for the last 4 to 5 years. Yes, they innovated, they broke into that market, and everybody wanted to look like them. Now, the developers of these things are taking it to the next level. Full customizations of the phones, hand swipe gestures and all that kind of stuff. So the innovation is now moving a step ahead in the Android space, whereas iOS has basically looked and felt the same for the last 4 or 5 years.
I see you have a Lenovo smartphone there.
Yes.
What can we expect from Lenovo going forward? Can you give us little hints what we can look out for?
Well, at the moment, we're obviously going to focus on our core business, which is notebooks, desktops, tablets, okay, all-in-one PCs, all that kind of stuff. That is what we're focusing on. Tablet is a really big focus as well. We're launching a whole lot of new range of products in July this year in the consumer space. We've obviously launched our business tablets, the ThinkPad Tablet 2, which is an enterprise-ready device, as well as the ThinkPad Helix, which is a ultrabook/tablet as well. Once again, mobile phones are not so much a focus in South Africa for us right now. The market is very, very flooded at the moment with a whole lot of mobile manufacturers. You walk into a store these days and you're not sure what you're going to choose, what you're going to decide for. An important thing is also to, when you do launch, make sure that you launch correctly. So we'll probably only see mobile phones coming in second, maybe third quarter of next year, and by then obviously everything would have changed once again, because these devices, as you know, change so rapidly.
Change all the time.
That's correct, yes.
There you go. Julian, thank you so much for your time.
Only a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.